with my mom, and a man with a paper bag was standing in front of us. He kept staring at me and feeling burdened. I tried to ignore him by borrowing my mom's cell phone and watching YouTube. However, the man suddenly said,
"She looks a lot like my daughter."
I was surprised at first, but quickly relieved of my alertness since it seemed he has no dangerous intention. Mom replied, "Oh, thank you," and tried to stop talking to him, but he continued.
"My daughter is pretty too. She seems to be about the same age as my daughter, and you must be having a hard time taking the subway so late at night."
Then he handed us a paper bag he was holding and said,
"I baked some bread today. Give it to your daughter."
She refused many times, but he kept saying,
"You know, lots of the children are usually hungry at this time.
or,
This is a really delicious one."
it's hard to ignore him when he's been recommending it not once or twice. So we were forced to take a paper bag and put it on my lap and waited to get to the next station we could get off. After a while, he talked to me again.
"Why aren't you eating?"
I didn't know what to do, so I said, "Oh, I just ate a lot, so I'm not hungry yet. I'll eat later." Then he asked me once again.
I said, "Why aren't you eating?"
His facial expression was stiff and bizarre, so I still remember that moment vividly. I apologized politely and asked him inversely this time, "Why do you give me this bread instead of your daughter?" Then he replied,
"Oh, because I can't see my daughter anymore."
My mom, who was getting anxious, watched me quietly from the side and dragged me. "Sweetie, we're getting off soon, so we have to stand by the door." She took me to the closed door, and for 10 minutes before getting off, he kept looking at me. Just before we arrived at the station, he came to us and told like this,
"I gave you this. Why didn't you eat? Why? Why?"
We couldn't make a fuss while we were still in the subway, so we waited desperately to arrive at the station as soon as possible. Fortunately, we arrived at the station shortly after, and at that very moment, we left the subway as if we were running away. I thought about eating bread on our way home because of his favor. However, I was also a little suspicious that he tried to force me to eat it, so I ended up throwing it away eventually. The more I thought about it, the more creepy it was.